Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing us how to take full measurement of the body. Yeah, this is Oyari. So I'm going to show us how to take full body measurement for a lady. This is a beautiful model that has gracefully agreed for us to take her measurement. So we're going to be starting with the shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement, when you're taking the shoulder measurement, you're going to be taking from the top of the shoulder to the other side. So from the peak of the shoulder before it starts sloping. So here to here, this way. So I'm going to take the measurement. Next, I'm going to take the upper bust measurement. So the upper bust measurement, I'm going to start taking my measurements from this point here. So the top of the neck. My upper bust measurement is from this point to the the start of the curve of the breast, so where it starts to curve the top. So it's going to be somewhere around here. That's 7 inches. So you have to use your eyes to measure it so that you're not touching the person inappropriately. So this is 7 inches here. So next is my bust length. My bust length is from the shoulder to the peak of the bust, so the highest point. So you have to ensure it's not where it's sloping upwards or sloping downwards. It has to be the peak, so the part that is on this angle. So on her measurement, it is 10 inches. So next I'm going to take the under bust measurement. So the under bust measurement is from the shoulder to the bra, where the bra stops, or just where the bust curves in, so where it goes in. So I'll take that measurement and it is 13.5 inches. So now next is the waist length. The waist length is the smallest part of the body, of the waist. So you have to ensure that it is where the waist goes in. If you're not sure, you can ask the person, oh, where's the smallest part of your waist? And then I'll take my tape and pull it in. So whichever part goes in. So there's some parts of the body that will give you would have obstruction if you're trying to pull it in. So the smallest part of the waist will be the part that you can pull in the most without feeling bone, like where the stomach is basically. So I would measure this. So when I take my waist measurements, I make it this tight if I'm making like a bespoke garment, because I want it really snatched. But it depends on who you're measuring for. If you're measuring for an older person, you have to ensure that you give them a lot of ease. So they would have to tell you where it's comfortable, but be careful, don't make it too big, otherwise the clothes is not going to have any shape. So I would tie this around the waist so that I can have my waist length. You can either do this with a tape, with a rope, or you can use your eye. If you're sure of the measurement you're taking, you can eyeball it. So I'll take the measurement from the top of the shoulder to where the tape starts. So my tape starts at 17 inches. This is going to be my waist length. So next I'm going to take my hip length. You can either take the rope and tie around the fullest part of the waist of the hip. So to be the fullest part, wherever is full. So I can see that this is where it is full on her hip. So I'll take the measurement around the hip where it's full. So the measurement here is 38 inches. That's the measurement on here. You have to ensure your tape is straight and there's that finger in for ease. So I'll just put my tape around here so that I can get my hip measurement. Okay, so you can put a rope on there and then take your measurements from the shoulder to the hip length if you're not sure of the eyeballing that it is correct. So I'll take this and measure. So my fullest part is 25 inches. So I would mark that at 25 inches. So from here, you have to ensure when you're going to the next measurement, your finger, so you can see my fingers around this because my measurement has to go around the curve of the bust. I'm taking my measurement on the front. So you have to make sure your finger is holding it in place so that your measurement doesn't slip. So next, I'm going to take with my hip length. So I'll put my hand on the hip length. Next, I'll take my knee length. My knee length is the top of our knee. So this is at 39. So next, I'm going to take the 3/4 measurement. So 3/4 is between the knee and the ankle. So that for her is 49. And then I'll take the ankle measurement. So our ankle measurement is 59. So if you're making like a flowy dress, you can either measure it from the ankle all the way to the floor, or you can add your measurements depending on how long you want the dress to flow. So next, I'll take my round body measurement. So my round bust, you take it around the bust and then take a measurement at the side. Ensure you're not taking a measurement in front so the person doesn't feel you are in their space or they're being harassed. You have to be careful. So I'm taking it at the side, and then you put your one finger inside. So you put for ease. This is going to be the ease allowance. So you put a finger in. So once you take that measurement, I'll then go to my round waist where I kept my tape. So this measurement, I'll snatch it. Depending now, as I said earlier, this is dependent on who you're measuring, how comfortable they want to be, but just ensure that you're not taking a measurement too small. So this measurement is a measurement that I would make a little smaller than the person's actual measurement so that it snatches the person's waist a lot. So next, I'll take the hip measurement. I'll measure this at the fullest part of the hip. And this is the exact measurement with one finger for ease. So I have 39 on the hip. So the next thing I'm going to measure is the waist to under butt measurement. I use this. Sorry. I use this measurement for when I'm doing butt curve for skirts, mostly bespoke dresses. So skirt dresses, when I'm doing the butt curve, so I want it to follow all the way, the dress to follow all the way to the underneath of the butt. So you'd measure from the top of the tape or from the waist length, and then stop at underneath of the butt. So where it curves in is where you'd stop your measurement. So I'll stop mine at 14. Now I'm going to take my arm measurement. So the arm measurement, you're going to be taking it from where you stopped the shoulder measurement. I stopped my shoulder measurement on here. So where it starts to slope, that's where you start taking your arm measurement. So I would usually take 4 measurements when I'm taking my arm measurement. I'll take this point, this point, this point, and this point. When I'm taking full body measurements, that will be different sleeve lengths, or if I'm making a long sleeve, I want to have multiple measurements so that I make a nice fitted sleeve. So from this point, this slope, where it slopes to here is 5 inches, here is 10 inches, here is 17 inches, here is 22 inches. So at this different lengths I've measured, I'm going to measure the round sleeve. So at the 5-inch point, I'll measure here, making sure my finger is there for ease. So this is 11. I'll measure here because this is where I took the other measurement. It's 10.5. I'd measure here. This is 9.5, and I would measure here. This is 8. So that's for your different sleeve length. So now I'm going to measure the lap measurement. The lap measurement, you lift the leg and you would measure this. I use this when I'm making a trousers. So drop your leg. So you'd take this and make sure your finger is there for ease. So I'm going to measure it up here. So I have 24.5. So this is her lap measurement. So now to measure crotch length for trousers, I would have her sit on a flat surface and then put a tape on the waist length. And then I'll take the tape and measure from the top of the tape, that's her waist length, if this is where she wears her trousers, to the top of the seat, so to this point. So her crotch length is 11 inches. This is for trousers. Now the bust span measurement, that's from nipple to nipple measurements. So we're going to take her nipple to nipple measurement. Now you have to be careful not to be touching the person's body inappropriately. So most of what you're going to be doing is eyeballing. So you just use your eyes to figure out where the bust span measurement is, and then I'll take my tape. And so most of the time between 7 to 9 for clients. So I'll take my tape and just hold it and then place it on her bust span. So this is where from where it starts from to where it ends. I say, okay, this, I'll just place it. Okay, this is where it is. So our bust span is 7. So you're seeing how I did it without having to touch her inappropriately. You have to be careful because we're trying to be professional here and not to touch people any way that makes them feel uncomfortable. So that's my bust span measurement. That is it. If you have any questions on measurements, you can ask in the comment section and I'll be able to answer your questions. And these are all the measurements I used when I'm sewing different outfits. So full body measurements. Whenever I have to sew for a client, I take their full body measurement in case I need to use something for something else. So thank you for watching. I hope this video has been helpful. You can like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you.
Bye.